and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Hope that you're doing well. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're just feeling like that. You know, sometimes it's not a word, it's just a feeling, just like that. Let's go ahead and continue on with the Velvet Underground White Light, White Heat. We're going to move on into the third track here on the album. That's going to be Lady Godiva's Operation. Could this be about chocolate? Because I read Godiva and I'm thinking chocolate. You know what the best type of chocolate is, though? White chocolate. And yeah, I know it's not exactly chocolate, but can I tell you? It's pretty good with me. Anyways, let's go ahead and give it a listen. We'll talk about it afterwards. Let's go. That bass line is just like very pounding.
Machines that neatly pump air.
That ain't good. Okay, so I guess that Lady Godiva had an operation, and whatever's happening there at the end is not going well. I'm pretty sure that's the doctor's fault, and probably everyone who's operating's fault, because the ether tube is leaking, which is the anesthesiologist, the doctor. I don't know. I don't know. There's a messy operation going on. There's like some back alley kind of stuff. But okay, musically, I like this one a lot. I actually really like Sterling Morrison. He's on the bass. I like that bass guitar and just it's kind of like a pounding kind of sound. It's very laid on thick, like bum 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 bum. And then you hear guitar. Hold on, I need to start using everyone's names. Who's using guitar? Lou Reed. Okay, Lou Reed's guitar throughout this album, yes, but especially in this song, it's very faint, and he's very like sidelined a little bit alongside the drums, which are also very faint. Besides the snare, which is, you can hear that, of course, and then the occasional toms, you hear them at the end of all the beats, but they're kind of relegated to almost like a deeper, distorted atmosphere. But the bass was very much up front on this one. You once again have kind of speaking vocals, even though here they're a little bit more melodic. That's going to be Kale on the lead vocals, and then those those interspersed vocals that come in later on during the operation. That's going to be Lou Reed coming in on that part. So that was interesting, the way they begin to switch the vocals back and forth at the end, because the first vocals, Kale, they're kind of melodic, they're kind of smooth. The song has a very dreamy and hazy feeling to it, almost as if being put under the knife and given some good stuff to knock you out. And you really want it to knock you out. Especially after the doctor makes the first incision, there's that big pause in the music, like for dramatic effect, and then it continues on as normal until they notice that the ether pipe is leaking, and the patient begins to wake up. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all. But I do think that it's really cool how they work together vocally, because, like I said, Kale's vocals are melodic, kind of smooth, very dreamy. And then when Reed comes in, they're a little bit more, I don't want to say angsty, because that's not really the word I mean, but a little bit more rough around the edges. There's something more direct about the way that Reed sings rather than Kale's smoothness. So I like how they kind of finish each other's verses. Well, I should say Reed is finishing Kale's verses at the end there. Which, let's go ahead and get into some of these lyrics, by the way, huh? Let's see. Lady Godiva, dressed so demurely, pats the head of another curly-haired boy, just another toy. Sick with silence, she weeps, sincerely, saying words that have, oh, so clearly been said so long ago. Drapery is wrapped round her shoulder. Life has made her that much bolder now, that she's found out how. Dressed in silk, Latin lace and envy, pride and joy of the latest penny fare, pretty passing care, hair today now dipped in the water, making love to every poor daughter's son. Isn't it fun? Okay, so Lady Godiva is kind of living her life. I guess this boy that's there, maybe he's the one doing the operation or getting an operation. Now today, propping Grace with envy, Lady Godiva peers to see if anyone's there, and hasn't a care. Doctor is coming, the nurse thinks sweetly. Turning on the machines that neatly pump air, the body lies bare, shaved and hairless. What once was screaming now lies silent and almost sleeping. The brain must have gone away. So that's why they're like, okay, it's time to operate. He's not screaming anymore. So was this a consensual operation? I don't know what's going on. Strapped securely to the white table, ether caused the body to wither and writhe. Underneath the white light, Doctor arrives with knife and baggage, sees the growth as just so much cabbage. So what is the growth? Was this a tumor? That now must be cut away. Is this like an organ harvesting scheme? Because he said he arrives with knife and baggage, like to take away. I don't know. Now come the moment of great decision. The doctor is making his first incision. There's the pause. One goes here, one goes there. The ether tube's leaking, says someone who's sloppy. The patient is not so well sleeping. Scream echo up the hall. Don't panic, someone give him pentothal. Doctor removes his blade, cagily slow from the brain. By my count of 10, the head won't move. I don't exactly know what kind of operation is going on here, to be honest. I have no idea, if I'm being honest. Let's see. The lyrics of the first half of the song, sung by John Cale, describe Lady Godiva, which I guess I'm just supposed to know who that is because there's a link, but there's no description. So let's go ahead and click the link, and since I'm just supposed to know who Lady Godiva is. She was a late Anglo-Saxon noblewoman who was relatively well documented as the wife of Leofric, Earl of Mercia, and a patron of various churches and monasteries. She is mainly remembered for a legend dating back to the 13th century, in which she rode naked, covered only by her long hair, through the streets of Coventry to gain a remission of the oppressive taxation that her husband imposed on his tenants. The name Peeping Tom for voyeur originates from later versions of this legend, in which a man named Thomas watched her ride and was struck blind or dead. Well, that's kind of interesting, the more you know. Okay, so I guess that's who Lady Godiva is. The lyrics of the second half, sung by Cale, alternating with Reed, are full of oblique, deadpan black humor and describe a botched surgical procedure, implied to be a lobotomy. Okay, that makes a little more sense than talking about the head. The head won't move. Okay. I can see it now. Cale plays electric viola, while Sterling Morrison plays bass. I didn't know that viola was being played here at all. I would have never even guessed it. It says an instrument that he disliked, talking about Morrison and the bass, despite his competent abilities. Sometimes you're good at something, but you don't care for it. Sometimes you're good for it, but you don't care for it. Anyways, this is an interesting album. This is a really like hazy and dreamy experience. They get a certain sound out of this. And can I tell you, this album was released, I think it was 1968. This album was released in 1968. I have to feel that this kind of sound in 68, and I know like the late 60s into of course the 70s was like a big explosion, especially for rock, popular music, and progressive music, etc. But I have to feel that this was probably really, really shocking to hear in 1968. I can't imagine that this, I mean, I'm sure it went over well. Obviously, it's a popular album. But I just can't imagine this being, like, immediately popular. I would imagine people hearing this and be like, what is that? Like, what is this? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the music. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. You can follow me on Twitter, support the channel on Patreon, and that's it, actually. So thank you guys for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.